everyone, I'm MaryEllenCarrier, and I've been asked by FWS to provide a demonstration on the Photoshop filter technique that I used to create my painting Table for Six. I love bold and edgy colors, and I like all the excitement that I can get using a Photoshop filter. I think you're going to like all the drama that you can add and the many options within the over 15 filters, and each one has endless possibilities. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm MaryEllenCarrier, and I'm here to show you what you can do with Photoshop filters when applying to your images. First of all, I'm going to go into a painting that I made for the Florida Watercolor Society that they asked me to demo for you. Here's the original image in Photoshop. You can see I took this photo in Z Gallery store in Jacksonville, and I loved all the little lights and shapes and the direction that the lights were taking. And I thought it would make a good painting, but it was pretty much a monotone image, black and white. I'm going to show you that I took this black and white image, this is the before image, in Photoshop. I went under Filter, Filter Gallery, and here's my picture in the Filter Gallery. In the gallery, on the right-hand side, you can see you could use a neon glow filter. You could use a plastic wrap, which looks like your painting was wrapped in plastic. You could also choose a smudge stick, which really emphasizes the contrast. I prefer to use the Cutout. And here we go, here's the fun part. I'm in the Cutout filter in Photoshop. Over on the right-hand side, we have three ways to edit the image. We have the number of levels. Right now it's on 8. If you decrease the number of levels, you can see it decreases the amount of shapes that you have. It really increases big, blocky areas to paint. You could also choose to adjust the edge simplicity. If I decrease that, then it makes more of a simple looking image. If I increase it, it doesn't really look like any kind of an image at all. So that's not where I want to be. And this is the fun part, just moving the sliders back and forth. There's no magic way to do it. You just keep moving back and forth until you find the way you like. And here at the end is the edge fidelity. Here's where it made all my edges really kind of soft and round, and I wanted a more edgy look. So let's move the edge fidelity back to where I had it. After I get it where I like it, right now I've got it on 8, 5, and 3. I hit OK. Then I go under Image and Adjustments. I hit Hue Saturation. So now what I like to do is increase my saturation. And it looks like I like it. I'm getting some nice color in here. So I'm all the way at the top. And then on the top slider, you have Hue. And here's where I adjust it to any color that I could possibly imagine. And I think for Table for Six, I ended up maybe around here. Okay, so now I've got the Table for Six layer hidden. I'm going to expose it for you. And here we go. This is how my final product ended up. You can see I did crop it in, and I did eliminate in this bottom left-hand corner, I eliminated the table, and I added some things. I added some little lights on the upper right-hand side. I simplified some of the bookshelves, And that's how I got the posterization filter to work for me. I also have another one that same store I went into, Z Gallery. I really like the shapes and the edges. It's just has a real stylized look. I did the same thing. I brought it in and I adjusted the filters in the cutout, and it came out looking like similar to the other image that I made. This is my painting called Fired Up, and you can see in the photo that I took this at a Balloon Glow in St. Louis, Missouri, and I really liked the way it was off center. I liked the excitement, the lighting on the people. I brought it into Photoshop and I applied the filters, and I ended up with an image like this. You can see that the people are more color blocked and it just has a lot of energy. I painted this several times and I never liked the way the background was. It just really didn't emphasize the fire. So finally I painted it and I made a dark background and I added some little white flecks, and it just was more exciting with the dark background. Here's an image that I took in an antique store, and you can see that I've got the three elements that I really enjoyed having. There was a chandelier that I really didn't think added anything to it, but what I did was go into the filter gallery and you can see the cutout settings that I have for my other painting are not working for this one. But for example, you could see the neon glow effect in this painting. That doesn't really work. Or the plastic wrap filter is not great. Or the smudge stick. Let's try the cutout. And for this one, I can just play with it. I could adjust the number of levels. It doesn't look like that's helping at all. It's just, there are so many options you can have. You just have to keep playing with it. The edge simplicity, it seems like that is not working. Just keep playing with it, and eventually you'll find the way you want it to be. It looks like the edge fidelity on this one really needs to be low, and the number of levels needs to be really high in order to get the image that I'm trying to get. You could also use poster edges. Some people like that. You could use a fresco filter, rough pastels, a sponge look. That's kind of interesting. You could do it every time you do a different filter. You may come out with something that you like better that you originally have. The end result on this painting, I eliminated the background, I eliminated the chandelier, and I added some Art Deco type patterns, and I just kept it black and white. There also are some images that are not necessarily great for doing this. For example, I took this picture which I really liked, and I was hoping I could apply a filter to it and see what would happen with it if I would like it. Okay, I opened it up in the filters, and it turns out that this picture is really a nice picture on its own, and the filter gallery is not going to add anything to it. It has a nice asymmetrical design. I like the way the kite is angled down. It's just a very vibrant photo, and a filter is not going to improve the way that looks. It's just better on its own. Not all photos are good for filters. Another one that I took that I was hoping would work out with a filter is this bicycle photo. I'm going to apply the filters here. In the filter gallery here, this bicycle photo, the colored pencil doesn't do anything for it. The neon glow, not really. And I'm only showing you how the filters don't work for everything. Some pictures, they really make a big difference and it's really fun and you get a great look, but not all pictures really need to be in a Photoshop filter. So that photo doesn't, the filters don't really do anything. I mean, that's kind of interesting, but to me, that's really not making the photo any better. And back to the original, here's the before filter, after filter, and you can see how Photoshop filters can take an image that seems pretty simple in terms of color, and you can really pop up the colors. I could take this, the final product, go into the hue and saturation, and even after I've painted it and I've taken a picture of it, I can adjust the colors and to see how it could have been. But I really like the complementary colors here, and it's really worked well for this particular painting. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how I applied filters to some of my paintings, and I really hope you give it a try. It's so much fun to just go in and make the colors do crazy things that you really wouldn't think of, and just try something new. There are so many variations that you can get. It's just a nice way to alter your paintings and try something different. Give it a try. What I'd like to show you now is how I achieve the color block area in a filtered image. I like to do both color block and mingling within the painting, but this is how I achieve a color block area without any blooms or brush strokes. Here's an example of an illustration that I made where you can see that I've already done a turquoise and magenta color without any brush strokes or blooms. The first thing that I like to do is put water on the image. Sometimes a tint of the color is helpful because you can see where you've applied the water. We want to have a solid area of water so that there aren't any reasons to go back in with a paintbrush. I've covered the entire area with water. I'm going to go into my paint and drop paint into the water area. Now, this is the part where you're going to you roll the painting around. When you're rolling it around, the paint is being distributed evenly. You might need to take your brush and gently distribute it a little bit more. This is my favorite color, quinacridone gold, but you've got all the paint. Now just keep moving the paper around, and you can see that I'm getting it into all the corners, and it really only takes a few minutes. I roll it around, and there you go. It's a very flat amount of color within that block. It may take a few minutes to get some of the paint to dry up a little bit, but once you're done, you'll have a nice flat amount of color. Nothing is more inspiring to me than a very white, clean palette. But since I use so many staining colors like the phthalos and dark purples, my palette is often very stained by the time I finish a painting. What I like to do to clean it up to get to the white point is wipe everything off. And usually I still have staining on my palette, but I like to use soft scrub with bleach. I put a little bit of that onto the palette and it really brings it back to the white stage. Of course, after you use this bleach, you need to rinse very well so that you don't have bleach mixed into your paintings. But I love doing this because it brings me back to a spot where I can start fresh and my palette is totally white again. That's what I like to use. Now I'm ready to go.